Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, Vice Admiral Fozzie Miller, former U.S. Fifth Fleet Commander. Gents, good to see you. I'll let the audience in on something. Sometimes the most interesting conversations are those had in the break, which the gentleman and I just were. And you all both pointed out that if the Gerald Ford wanted to, it would already be off the coast of Iran. But they've been telegraphing for weeks that it's moving, and it is moving somewhat slowly. General, as the ranking officer, would you care to tell us why that might be?
Well, I will defer for better words from the Admiral, and he would really know. But this is my impression, and that is that the carrier could have been there earlier, but that would have been moving at at sort of an abrupt speed. It has moved at a more appropriate transit speed, and I think that's to allow pressure to build on Iran. This is my opinion, but I think the president would love to see Iran succumb to the pressure and come to the table and get this done without force.
I guess the flip side of that, though, Admiral, is that the Iranians know this as well. And as much as President Trump has been willing to use force in the past, it's been one and done. If Iran realizes that he doesn't want to go to war, do they not have the upper hand in the negotiations?
Well, I don't think they have the upper hand at all. So the Ford's going to get there when it gets there. They can hurry up and get there, and that's all they'll do is transit, as General Breedlove was talking to. Or they can train on the way and get there when they need to be there. And so what it gives Iran, as long as we tell them where the carrier is a good idea of when our forces will all be where we want them to be in case we need to use military force. So I don't think that gives them the upper hand. I think it gives them something to think about.
Okay, well, so we're probably at now like 5 or 6 days till Trump's deadline, right? Because it was about 5 days ago that he said 10 days, which is the first time he made a deadline. Wall Street Journal, Pentagon flags risks of a major operation against Iran. The warnings have been led by General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, within the Defense Department and during meetings of the National Security Council. The Pentagon is raising concerns to President Trump about an extended military campaign against Iran, advising that war plans being considered carry risks including U.S. and allied casualties, depleted air defenses, and an overtaxed force. General Breedlove, obviously you are Supreme Allied Commander, but you come from an Air Force background. Is there a limit both to duration and effectiveness of only waging war from the air?
Well, first, let me just say the words you used describing what the Pentagon was doing were words of an author of apparently an article or something. And I'm not picking a fight or anything, but the fact of the matter is the chairman is supposed to identify risks. It's a part of when the chairman offers options to the president, sovereign options from lesser options to bigger options. He identifies risk all along that scale. And then if asked, the chairman then would say, Mr. President, I recommend X. And his job is to give his best military advice, whether he thinks the president is going to agree or not. So he's given him advice. He's identified the risk, and if the president asks, he's probably made a recommendation. And I think that those words you read from the author is, those are her interpretation of what's going on. I shared with you what I know went on because it's the same thing I did when I gave the President Obama options when Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yeah, and also the same options that were given, I know, when you were the air commander, when there was the attacks in Libya by NATO, when NATO basically became the forward air combat, close air support for the rebels in Libya. But Admiral, this goes to the last point. Is there a deal to be made? Is there a deal the Iranians would be willing to make that allows them regime survival, which to them their nuclear program is part of that, and that President Trump could accept?
Well, there's definitely a deal to be made. Whether or not the Iranians are going to make that deal becomes the operative question. And that's what we'll find out. We'll find out more on Thursday, and then whatever happens after that with the negotiations. But it's clear the president would prefer to solve this problem without the use of military force. But it's really up to the Iranians in terms of whether or not they want to let that happen.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.